Welcome again to another installment of the Last Time We Spoke podcast. As always, please like, share, subscribe, comment, rate, all that good stuff. The voice you are hearing is Steph.
International Joe, before Texas is on.
It's your boy Dula from Naptown, West Side though.
Always West Side though. This week we got a more of a serious topic about keeping our money in our community. So what should we do to make keeping our money in our community possible? I know overall we see, I know it's stereotypical. It makes me think about don't be a menace, but you got, the Asian stores, hair stores, laundromats, restaurants, Middle Eastern convenience stores, so on and so forth, that we consistently frequent in, but don't own. They market their products towards us, but we don't own none of it. So we'll start with you, Brother Joe. How you think you can go about doing this?
Thanks, brother. Go ahead and get this out of the way.
So, if you in the informed circles, what we gonna be saying may not be groundbreaking to you, and that's good. That means you should be taking action by now, though. If you're not, me personally, I think it starts with institutions. So, the Bank Black movement a few years ago, that was a good start, even though these banks have been around for at least some of them, at least a century. That's a good start. Like, you're going to have to get some financing from somewhere sometimes. You got to keep your money somewhere. And a good start to keep it in your community is to bank with somebody who looks like you, even if they don't share your political goals. And taking that, moving forward to businesses, if you are going to need some startup capital, you'll have that. If we bank in Black, you're going to have that capital available to you, as opposed to if you go to a majority financial institution, they're not approving loans for people like us at a adequate rate, let alone an outstanding one. So for all you people who envision being business owners, even if you want to own a franchise, put it in the community, wherever the community may be, if it is a physical thing anymore, because after integration, like you started saying, like there are still pockets that have other ethnicities living amongst themselves and being community orientated, but us, it seems to be, if you have a certain social economic status, you are left there. It's not your choice to be there. That's what it seems to be. And I could be wrong about that, and I hope I'm wrong. But if we can reform these communities, or even in situations where it's like we have cities that are majority Black or have like a history of being majority Black, Atlanta, D.C., New Orleans, things like that, even like major cities, Chicago, and certain sections of New York. Start those businesses, put them in the community that you want to serve. Hell, also nonprofit organizations, like you might not be making a profit, but that money is going to be taken and put towards something that's enriching our communities. And schools, LeBron, Jalen Rose.
Say that again, because your phone was cutting out. I don't like that. Sound like something pertinent that you were saying. So.
Which part? What's the last thing you heard?
Actually, you started clearing up right when you started to talk about LBJ, so a little bit before that.
All right, so nonprofit organizations, as well as the businesses and the banks, nonprofit organizations. No matter what social economic standing you have, there's going to be somebody who needs help. There's going to be an issue. Even if you are from a well-off background, there's going to be some causes, and there's going to be people who need help. So nonprofit organizations, if we have those community-based, they're going to enrich the community. And schools, like in the news lately, there has been LeBron James, Jalen Rose has done something. Derrick Rose is starting a scholarship, and this is nothing new, but I'm glad this is getting the attention that it's getting. If I don't even want to misattribute this quote, so I'm going to just chop it up and recite it the way I remember it. Like, you can't expect the oppressors to teach you how to become free. Like, that's just common sense to me. Like, even if you don't think you've been oppressed, there is a bias in the educational system because your history ain't being taught. Like, things to make you a better, more productive member of society ain't being taught. It's coming from a deficit perspective. What's not happening? What's wrong with you? Shit like that. So the more people like us starting schools for people who look like us with faculty and teachers who look like us and who share the same agenda, the better off we'll be. So that's my way I think we can make it possible.
Brother Dula.
Well, there's not much I can say that Brother Joe didn't already say, so I'm going to piggyback off of what he said, but try to add a couple things. First and foremost, like he was saying, you know, Black Bank movement, so to speak, how much traction it gained over the past several years. I think we need to do more of that, not just banking, but start more Black businesses, you know what I'm saying? And not just start the Black businesses in our communities, but, you know what I'm saying, hire people from those communities as well, you know what I'm saying? Because it's sort of like a family, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody from this community take pride in this whatever business this may be. Let's just say it's a Whole Foods store, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So everybody take pride in this business because it's from their community. They know the person who opened the business, the person who started the business, gave them opportunities to help feed their family, and now we're taking care of this thing. We're nurturing this thing, you know what I'm saying? We're helping it grow, and we're building. So I say we need to start more businesses, and from that, you know what I'm saying, pass it along and teach our children the right way. And what I mean by that is our spending habits, man. We got to really tighten up on our spending habits, you know what I'm saying? That black dollar circulates so fast, and it doesn't stay in our community, you know what I'm saying? As soon as we get there, it's gone. So we have to teach the generation after us, our children, how to do the things the right way. You know, this is how daddy messed up. This is where I messed up at. This is how mommy messed up. This is where she messed up at. This is what needs to be done. This is what we're going to do. We're going to make sure you're straight. We're going to make sure you go to get the proper education. We're going to make sure you keep your credit where it needs to be. You know what I'm saying? We're going to start these businesses in our community. When you get older, you can add on. You can do this. You can do that. You know what I'm saying? So I would say start more businesses in our communities. Hire people from our communities and monitor how we spend our money. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the worst. Our spending habits is worse than any other community, man. Any other, you know what I'm saying? Like the Asian, Chinese people, they spend money with their people. Chinese spend with Chinese, white spend with white. Everybody spend with their own. But when a black man spends with his own, it's looked down upon. That's another way to keep you, you know what I'm saying, enslaved and thinking that you're not good enough. And you hear it, I know, y'all done heard this before. Tell me if I'm wrong. See, that's why I don't like taking my shit to niggas. I take my shit to the white man. Like, they think, like, somebody's gonna screw, like, their own kind is gonna screw them over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It irks me when I hear shit like that, man. But, I mean, in some cases it might be true, but it's more about the individual, not about that person's skin color. You know what I mean? So, start more businesses. I mean, it don't have to, everybody trying to get rich quick and skip all these steps to become a fucking billionaire, millionaire, multi-millionaire. You know what I'm saying? We gotta crawl before we walk, but we gotta scoot before we crawl. So, you know, it can be different types of business. It can be a little candy store. It can be a clothing store. It can be whatever the community needs. You know what I'm saying? A grocery store. You know what I'm saying? I know it's hard going against these Fortune 500 companies, but we change the mind of the people in our communities and tell them why it's important to keep our money in our community. More black banks, more black businesses. businesses and then hire people, start business in that community and hire people from that community, then we're on to something. You know what I'm saying? And
say that again though. Let me have you go back.
yeah.
Crawl before you walk. But say that again. I think they need to hear it again, even though you expounded on it.
You gotta crawl before you walk, but you gotta stoop before you crawl. You know what I'm saying? In other words, you know what I'm saying? You can't take shortcuts, man. It's not a get rich quick scheme. You know what I'm saying? You have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. There's nothing else. No other way to say it. You have to put in that work. Blood, sweat, and tears.
So you can't finesse? You can't finesse your way to wealth?
Man, look.
You tell me I can't finesse?
It's always that one lucky person, and they want to keep telling you about this lucky person. And the person they want to tell you about who made all this money most of the time is some type of entertainer, and then they're going to want you to need their opinion on what you should do. Oh, he did it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And the one thing that they don't tell you is that entertainer or that celebrity, quote unquote, once they, strike oil, that business model no longer cease to exist, not on the grand scheme of how that person did it. Like, it possibly can be done again, but not to that magnitude of that person. That's another thing that I see that, that's not told. But continue, brother.
That's pretty much the gist of it. Like, I don't worship men, you know what I'm saying? I know you brothers don't worship men. But we artists and we respect art. So there's some artists who inspired us so much, but we don't throw our whole life away trying to be just like them, do exactly what they did the way that they did it. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying if somebody lay a blueprint out and it's successful, you shouldn't go that direction if that's where your heart's taking you and that's where your mind's taking you. Everything's aligned and that's what you want to try your hand at. But I'm saying you have to put in the work. You're not just, you know what I'm saying, you can't just fucking win the lottery. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to happen. Put in the work, man. Put all your time and effort into it and universe will give it to you, man. You got to put your time and effort into it. And,
I know. Oh, go ahead, my brother. Okay.
And that was it. All right, break it down. All right. Start more business in our community, right? Hire people from our community. Hire people from our community to work in that community. You know what I'm saying? So we can feel like a part of something. You know what I'm saying? We're building this together. You know what I'm saying? Teach your children the importance of a dollar. You know, to monitor their spending habits so they won't make the same mistakes that we made. You know what I'm saying? And then that generation has it. And that generation going to make mistakes too because everybody does. Then they're going to pass it down. Then we're building on something. Not just doing the same shit over and over and over again. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
I know you made a interesting point about how many times have you heard, that's why I go to the white man or whatever because, these niggas don't know how to act, so on and so forth. Which leads me to the next point. And I think a lot of it you already touched on, Dula, so I'll give the floor back to Brother Joe. Why don't we equal? Why don't we equal? Why don't we spend with our own?
So my take on why we don't spend with our own is because at its base, economics is a social science. And so, with that being said, until we heal as people, it's not gonna happen. Like, that's point blank period. Like, as a brother, I had this book by Tom Burrell calls it, is Disunity Dynamics. And he names it as crabbing. Complain about blacks who have moved ahead of you. If I crab enough, maybe others will share my discontent and keep that person in their proper place. Backstabbing, sabotaging successful blacks due to envy, jealousy, or hatred. Lack of coalescence, refusal to support and unify with other blacks, fear that if another black person rises to your level, your job or upward mobility will be threatened. Inability to form strong coalitions, rather than uniting to gain the power to influence, black groups function at a low level and can't seem to get traction. Lack of support and mistrust of black goods and services, which is more appropriate to what we're talking about. the white man's ice is colder. A genuine belief that any goods or services created or distributed by blacks are inherently inferior. Therefore, we sometimes go out of our way to not support them. And exceptionalism, the belief that you are the exception to the inferior black rule. You are special because you are the only black at the corporate management level or invited to the country club. Whites say you are different than other blacks. You're special, and you like it that way. And that's a good starting point for me because, as I said, it's a social science. Until we rid ourselves of that mentality, of those types of thinking, that dynamic, then there's no gain to be had economically because it's just going to self-destruct. Like it all implode. No matter if we do get ahead, there's always going to be that underlying, distrust of the people who look like you or pocket watching, as is prevalent in all communities, but more so in the black community from my perspective because that's what I care about. I care about a lot of people. I care about all people, but I care about people who look like me first and foremost. So shit, I can't tell you how prevalent this thing is with other people, but I do know anecdotally I hear a lot of, so how much money you make on this? What they pay doing? Shit. I'm not going to tell you anyway because, what I'm saying, I was born that night, not last night, but there's too much of that going on. Man, Master P, I remember that shit when I was a kid. Master P made this much money, blah, 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 and P Diddy, and people used to have arguments about that shit. What is that doing for you? Now, I do get when people talk about things like that and it's, I can aspire, especially when you're younger, I can aspire to be that. But when it's just a sense of vicarious pride in another person's accomplishment, that's dangerous. And unless you're going to use that to motivate yourself to do something, that's a type of thinking that I would suggest people do away with, but to each his own. Now, as I said, it's a social dynamic more so than a straight up and down economic one. So once we rid ourselves of that way of thinking, we can start to make connections with each other and do business with each other. But as Dula said earlier, it's the white stuff is superior in people's minds. It's let me go spend $3,000 on a Gucci jacket when they making that shit in sweatshops right next to the shit that you could buy at Walmart probably, and just putting the logo on that shit. It's like I said an episode or two ago, when somebody black does come out and do something that's even, under the same, operating from the same influences as those majority European American or European companies, it's, well, I ain't paying $50 for that. But you pay $50 if that motherfucker said Nike or motherfucking whatever else, Polo, whatever. You're trying to buy into another culture when your culture is available. It can be said that we don't truly have a culture, but we'll never truly have one if we can't support our own, if we can't stop with this unity. And I'm not saying that's something specific to, before I pass the mic to Dula, I'm not saying that's something that's specific to black people. Every culture, I don't like when I see that shit. You'll never see this in the white people all that. Nah, hell no, they do that shit all the time. But shit, either somebody's using that to try to motivate somebody negatively, like some reverse psychology, or they just being myopic. So brother Dula, you got it.
That was the key word in that whole little diatribe you went on was mental. You know what I'm saying? It's all mental, man. And I don't know how I can attack it from another angle because you hit it on the head right there. I mean, we still look at ourselves as inferior. We might not verbally say that, but our actions will tell you that we still think we're inferior to our oppressors. You know what I'm saying? If look at the black man's most prized possession should be a black woman. You know what I'm saying? You take a look at this black woman, this beautiful black woman. Look who she's trying to look like. Look, and if you look at the black man, I ain't gonna say every black man, that's too general, but let's just talk about us generally. We're trying to keep up with the Joneses. We're trying to prove to each other that I have more than you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got $50,000 in debt so I can make $50,000 a year. And drive a $60,000 car and buy a $300,000. It just don't make sense. So we're always trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to spend our money, buy their property, buy their clothes, make them rich, put all that money in their community just to look down on our people. You know what I'm saying? We do all this not to feel accomplished, not to say that I have a bachelor's degree, I have a master's degree, I have zero debt, I have an 800 credit score. We do this to say, I make this amount a year, I drive this car. You know what I'm saying? We don't own any of these things I'm speaking of, by the way. That's my whole point. I make $100,000 a year, I drive a Lexus, and I live in an all-white community, and I shop in an all-white community. I put all my money back into an all-white community. I never go to the hood anymore. I'm from the hood. I still have family in the hood, but I don't go to the hood anymore because I made it. And that's where that whole sellout shit comes from, you know, which I'm normally the one disagreeing with it, you know what I'm saying? Like, somebody come from the hood, why the fuck you want to hang out in the hood? That's the dumbest shit ever, you know what I'm saying? But to build up our communities is something totally different. To spend money in our communities is something totally different. To empower our people and help them feed their families, you know what I'm saying, put clothes on their children's back and food in their mouth, is something totally different. So I think a lot of times all of our accomplishments and our goals is based on looking down on each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, I made it. I did it. You know what I'm saying? I'm too good to be hanging out here. I'm too good to do this. I'm not going shopping in the hood. You know what I'm saying? I live out in the suburbs with all white folks. And yeah, my baby's starving. And yeah, we eating ramen noodles. But look at my nice house. And yeah, I'm going to lose the house in 2 years because I can't really afford it. But look at that. Ain't it nice? You know what I'm saying? So that's another reason.
Hold on, brother. Let me. I know I've said this, but I feel like this is important to be said. I'm not saying, and I don't think you're saying, even though you just explicitly said the hood, I'm not saying it has to happen in the hood. It's wherever the community is, that's where it is. You know what I'm saying? If it's in the hood, it's in the hood. If it's in multiple places, in multiple places. But I'm not trying to make it seem like, I'm not personally, I know you kicking your shit right now, trying to make it seem like to be supportive of a black community, of the black community, you have to be supportive of the hood, the quote-unquote hood. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I think. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's a good point, but I speak from a hood perspective because I'm a hood dude and I'm from the hood. I don't live in the hood no more because I don't want to, like Nas said, quoting the great Nas. You know what I'm saying? You're rich when your children's upbringing is better than yours. You know what I'm saying? Just today, my daughter said, "Daddy, remember you said sometimes I didn't have any lights?" Yeah. Why didn't they have lights? Because we were poor and we didn't have any money. You know what I'm saying? It was either eat food for the rest of this week and get our lights turned back on next week, or have lights and no food. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that like everybody from the hood is poor and everybody, well, sort of, well, everybody, you know what I'm saying, struggle the way we struggle. But what I'm saying is most of us come from these type of environments. And when we come out of these environments, a lot of us everybody's goal should be to make it out, right? A lot of our goals to make it out just to look down on where we came from. You know what I'm saying? To look back at people and say, I graduated from such and such white college and got $70,000 in debt. But look where I live at. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's ass backwards. They don't understand that they, you know what I'm saying, running on a treadmill. You know what I'm saying? So I just wish we all on one accord and all see that we need to build up our environment. Like you said, the hood, the burbs, wherever. Black community, period, not just the hood. I understand that. But I'm speaking from a hood perspective. So that's where I come from, and that's where we all should.
I know. Putting stereotypes. I ain't saying it's a stereotype, because just like you said, it is statistically true. Ain't no stereotype, but all three of us are from the hood. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm attacking anybody. Some of y'all do need to be attacked. But I don't want to make it seem like I'm excluding anybody. I should say, but like if you ain't from the hood, if you ain't from the hood, you can't go back to that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the things I'm trying to put out there. If you are upper class or you've come from a higher socioeconomic standing than our brethren and sisters who are, you know what I'm saying, supposedly on the bottom, then I'm not trying to make you feel inferior as a black. I'm not judging your blackness because you didn't come from that environment. But at the same time, as he's saying, like, you shouldn't be looking down on somebody just because they weren't as fortunate as you, or using that as a standard to see yourself as superior because you just buying into the oppression.
And to be clear, me and Brother Joe, we're talking about uplifting each other and spending the money in our community and being from the hood, lifting that community that we come from and spending money in that community and building it up, making progress as opposed to going back.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. So, in retrospect, like, the only motherfuckers who want to go visit the hood and hang out in the hood just to say they went is motherfuckers who ain't from there. I forget who it was.
Who ain't from that motherfucker.
It's like, let's go to Compton, man. That's nice. No, motherfucker, what I want to go to Compton? Nah, man, you said you're from the hood, man. You ain't scared. I ain't got to be scared, motherfucker. Like, what am I going to do there? Hey, I'm from the hood.
Exactly.
No, motherfucker.
Exactly.
Stupid. You know what I'm saying? But
your hood has travel.
You don't know how many motherfuckers. Let's just be real about it. How many square motherfuckers, regardless of race, I had to say this. Like, this is the way I always put it. I'm like, I'm from the hood. I'm not from every hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't my hood. They don't, just like you said, they don't fucking know me from fucking can of paint. Shit, people in my hood don't know me. I come from a big ass neighborhood. Like, you ain't safe in every, as much as that hood pass is a thing, you ain't safe in every neighborhood, man. You ain't safe in your own neighborhood sometimes. So that type of thinking, that's just so backwards. That shit has me on the full, like, I look at, that's one of the biggest things that like make me put you in a category of unfuckwittable when I hear people say shit like that. But go ahead.
No, just coming up, you know how many back alleys, back streets I took avoiding certain hoods in my own city? Not because I was scared, but because I was smart. You know what I'm saying? Like,
smart, yeah. There's a difference between scared and smart. Exactly.
Yeah. Right. Now I'm going to go to Compton and hang. I probably had on like all blue or all red that day. Come on, man. Only squares thing like that. But we're talking about uplifting our community, not from the hood. So this should be this way. Speaking to my people from my community, and more specifically black people from similar communities, you know, how we need to get together. And it's easier said than done, I understand. How we need to keep our money in our community, how we need to watch how we spend our money, how we need to spend our money in our community first. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
It's just how we have to do it. Now that's the problem. We know what we need to do, but doing it is something totally different, man. We gotta get everybody on the same page, and it's like no matter what we do, no matter how we kick it to them, no matter what facts you hit them with the truth, man. People just want to stunt, man. Especially when you're young.
Yep.
They want to look at. They want to have a Gucci belt. They want to have a Gucci belt. Sleep on the couch. Sleep on their brother's couch. Have a Gucci belt. Pull holes at the club. You know, we going back to
man. Say, man. You got something to add, Brother Steph? Because I know we done, like, we hitting them with combos, shit.
Yeah, the approach I choose to take, and this definitely excludes business models, but I guess I look at it from the aspect of you had FUBU. You had, I know I've been mentioning FUBU for the last few episodes, but
I'm about to say you love FUBU.
No, just the name alone is powerful. You know what I'm saying? And
no, it is. Let me do some research on that shit, because I went back and watched that video again, and that was like a FUBU/Puma jacket. If they fucking if it's a Puma thing, fuck FUBU.
Straight up and down. See, I didn't even know that, but yeah, straight up and down. But with and FUBU, I'll be comparing it to Polo. You know how FUBU had they brief little run, and then the same way they came, the same way they went. And then you have Polo that's been around for decades. And Polo has, at least to my knowledge, has always been that upper middle class, you know what I'm saying? Like when you want to style on a motherfucker, so on and so forth. Yeah, I got the polo sneakers with the polo shirt to match and the bucket and so on. And everybody, those that know me know I'm a huge fan of the bucket. That's possibly one of my favorite hats to wear. But I digress from that. And basically the point I'm trying to get to is...
Let me interject real quick.
Okay,
He's doing a collaboration with Puma. It's not it's still FUBU. All right.
Okay.
My bad, FUBU. I ain't mean to call y'all out like that.
But with that being said, it's kind of like, you know, polo has always been that unattainable, to a certain extent anyway. High-end, affordable clothing line to wear, so on and so forth. But with FUBU, at that particular time when it was hot, it was pretty much nothing more than a fad. And I think that dichotomy between minority businesses and white businesses is interesting, at least to me, simply because our shit is always fads, and not just in fashion. Like I'm talking about businesses that sustain within time. Like it, again, it goes back to an earlier podcast when I was earlier episode, I should say, when I asked the question as far as do we sell and get the biggest profit, and I think both of you guys said, yeah, that's business. I get that. I'm a firm believer in, you know what I'm saying, profit and all of that, but I guess it all boils down to who you're selling it to, too, if you want to keep the integrity and so on and so forth, or do you just create another business and, you know, start all over again? Not completely, obviously, because I'm pretty sure you'll have more resources than what you had for the first initial business. You know what I'm saying? But generational businesses that keep going, that keep influencing culture, I guess. Keep influencing society. There you go. Keep influencing society. I don't think, if anything, I think that's one major thing that we've always lacked beyond others. Like you guys touched on the psychological aspect of it. And I think that also ties into it as well. It's pretty much like, speaking from a hood perspective, not necessarily a quick flip, but a flip nonetheless. You know what I'm saying? For those that don't know what a flip is, I don't feel like explaining it to you. You should know what the fuck a flip is. I'll let Brother Joe or Brother Dula expound on what the fuck a flip is. But you flip it, so on and so forth. And I think now that it's coming back to the Motown, I think very good.
They know what flipping is, bro. They flip houses, man. No, seriously, shit. That
I mean, it's
a common term. They are either young or they'll get it one day.
Okay.
Soon you'll understand.
But and I think like one of the main businesses that we don't attack is agriculture, as far as farms and plants and livestock and so on and so forth. At least where I'm at, I know it could possibly be somewhere different. Where you at, Joe? I know I was about to say I know that shit ain't popping in Indiana like that, but that would be me ignorantly assuming. But
what are you talking about? What are they popping like that?
Agriculture, black agriculture.
Yeah, black agriculture.
Black agriculture. Nah, I think.
Yeah,
your assumption is right.
Like right across the street, and this ain't even agriculture, it's horticulture because it's a small scale. Right across the street from my aunt's house, there's a community farm. But that, just like I said, that's not agriculture. That's a community thing. It's like a small plot of land at that. So that tells you right there. No, I'm just saying that's it. It's back to you.
So while you know what I'm saying, like far as I guess mainstream business, as far as what we are to a certain extent most known for, entertainment, fashion, so on and so forth. business, if we're going to create like a community where we are investing in our own and keep the black dollar circulating within ourselves, like I said again, one thing that's not touched on is where do we get our food from? You know what I'm saying? And circulate that, because obviously that will keep us healthy and keep us here around a little longer to, you know what I'm saying, pass down positives and negatives from what we've learned in our years, because God willing, we all gonna get to that age where it's time to really, for real, pass down wisdom if you're not already doing so now. You know what I'm saying? So with that is I know in a text message, I know all three of us are in group chat, and we was talking about Carmelo, about him being paid to pretty much go away. And Brother Joe said something. It's like, listen to the bigger picture. You can pay that man that money to go away and not be hurting and so on and so forth. I think with us, we think of everything. We think about a lot of things, I should say, from a minuscule perspective, where we have to start thinking bigger, living bigger, acting bigger, and God willing, we will be bigger than what we see or what we hear, so on and so forth. Because, I mean, and I'm not trying to get too philosophical or psychological on it, but I think is where we are as far as economically. It's all been designed. So it wasn't by accident, by no means. It's been designed since our ancestors came to this country. So, God willing, in my lifetime, if not my lifetime, I would prefer it to be in my children's lifetime, or even my grandchildren's lifetime. But looking at ourselves in the mirror, looking at ourselves, how we look at ourselves, I think first is the bigger picture, and essentially, charity starts at home. So that's all I got. But I don't know if anybody want to retort or anything.
Yeah, it's not exactly a retort. I'm glad to an extent. Personally, I'm glad we talking the way we talking, but for entertainment's sake and for critical assessment, I'm going to hold a mirror up to us. I don't just mean us, I mean the black community. Mm-hmm. In regards to this question, which is why do we spend with us? The people who are out there doing it, like if you take care of business, you're taking care of business. But if you ain't, you need to get your shit together, man. Like, I don't want to go to, which one of the things that's most prevalent that we have in regards to the community that it's in, restaurants. If I'm waiting like inordinate amounts of time for something that I have a standard of, like, if I'm a frequent visitor of your establishment and I know, how long it takes for you to serve me some food or for you to have me some food prepared to go, that shit should be like, I'm going to hold you to that standard, basically. Like, it shouldn't be confusion at the register. It shouldn't be a lack of customer service unless that's part of your business model. Like this place in Chicago, they disrespect motherfuckers. Unless that's part of your shit, it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be, I just, 20 minutes later, I just found out we out of this that you ordered. It shouldn't be any of that shit. And I'm not talking about other people's business. I know other people do that shit. I'm not holding you to a higher standard. This is my personal standard. You know what I'm saying? So if it's a higher standard for you, then maybe you need to step your game up. You know what I'm saying? But that shit, like, it gotta stop. Like, open your shit on time. You ain't gotta smile when you fucking, it took different people, professionals, there's different things. So I'm outlining this shit. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta smile when you greet me, but act like you want to be there. If you don't want to be there, find you another fucking job. If you ain't owning this motherfucker. And that's the sad thing that I see when it comes to, like, people who do keep it in the family. You can tell when there's somebody in the family working there. Your unappreciative ass young ass is standing up there looking like you rather be doing something else, let your people know that shit so they can hire somebody who needs that shit and who wants to be there. Because they had a vision. And granted, nobody asked to be born, let alone asked to be a part of somebody's business plans. But this shit is something they have probably literally blood and sweat and shed tears for. Like, they want to pass this on to you. And I would hate for it to get to a point where before they are able to see you enjoy the fruits of their labor and appreciate this, they pass on, and then it's, man, I wish I would have did this, whoop the whoop and whoop the whoop. And it's too late. Or whatever the case may be. But yeah, no. Like if you are in, especially the service industry, you are providing a service, so that service needs to be done with more than a tinge of professionalism. And that's all I'm saying about that one.
Nah, I agree with that. Cause I hate when I'm like, I gotta support my people. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go to this restaurant and you bring me some cold ass food or something. You know what I mean? Like, or you don't get what you asked for. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't order this. This is what I ordered. Okay, I go ahead and throw something in there for you. Or do it. You know, just unprofessional. I hate when that happens because that makes like all the stereotypes that they say about it. That makes that shit, you know what I'm saying, seem true. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you. If you're going to open a business, you know what I'm saying, you have to be professional. You have to open on time. And I'm not saying all black businesses do this. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just speaking to those that do. Or for those people aspiring to open a business. You have to be professional. You have to open on time. You have to give people what they pay for. You know what I'm saying? Provide a service and be professional about it. And that's how we get our people more willing to keep that dollar in our community. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I agree.
I'll finish off with this. I know it's been a few black businesses that I've experienced where when you walk through the door, it's like, you know, just like what you two was talking about as far as how we look at each other. Like, it's just another motherfucker up in here, blah, 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 so on and so forth, like you know me. But as soon as a white person comes in, you buck up. And you know, you greet them how you're supposed to greet all of your other customers. It's pretty much, okay, you got this business. I mean, the bottom line is the bottom line. My money is green just like yours, and I'm not saying, like, again, it's not all businesses, but I've experienced this in a few businesses where I I had to walk out, where it's like, I feel like I'm being treated worse than I would at a damn white establishment to a certain extent.
Man, I was trying to interject because I know you got some shit to kick, but that's like literally what happened with me yesterday. I didn't notice like any different treatment. I was like, man, they slacking. And then two white patrons come up to the counter, and granted, I know the people who own the shit, you know what I'm saying, but this person who worked there was white. She greeted. She's like, "Oh, did y'all really enjoy it?" Like they had a rapport going, but I was like, "This shit is so different." How the and like I said, I waited. Like I'd already paid, so I waited like more than the normal time for that shit. I was like, "Exactly, that's it right there, brother." But you got it. I'm sorry,
but that like, and to a certain extent, just to go back to what Dude was saying, as far as you know, this is why I don't fuck with black businesses like that. I mean, you got a lot of people that just, black folks, I'm speaking of particularly. You got people that when they walk into a black business or whatever, they got their nose already poked up to the sky, critiquing, so on and so forth. So I'm not trying to come across where it's just the black business owner's fault. It's the business and the consumer as well. You know what I'm saying? It's a two-way street. So far as the business owner, I'll flip it to the consumer. You can't come in there, you know what I'm saying, pretty much nitpicking at everything. You know, you can't walk, because you damn sure wouldn't do that at a chain restaurant that you frequent all the time, and where you know the service is subpar, where you know the quality of treatment that you're getting is not, it's subpar as well, but you can consistently go to that place. You know what I'm saying? But if you go to a black-owned business and they treat you well, so on and so forth, but you nitpicking on shit that you don't nitpick at any other business, that shit gotta stop too. But again, it goes back to how we view ourselves, how we view each other. And a lot of it comes from that crab in the bucket mentality. I ain't gonna go too far into that because that's been well drawn out already just within society. You see or hear that shit on a daily basis through media, or if you just have your antennas up. So I don't feel the need to really, go into that in depthly. But as far as us as a people, I believe, and I'm not saying I'm the exception or my brothers are the exception, because like I said, I have a tendency of I'm a human being. I make mistakes too. You know what I'm saying? So there's been a couple times where, hey, you said 10 minutes. And it's 12 minutes go by. You know what I'm saying? Give you that little leeway or whatever, because I know shit happens and possibly, you're busy back there or whatever. But in the same sense, us as a people, if I'm paying you for a service or for a good or anything like that, again, as my brother Dude said, be professional with me. I don't give a damn if our color is the same, because my money still is green. And we all need the shit to make it, you know what I'm saying, to get by, to flourish, so on and so forth. And a lot of standards or a lot of benchmarks. Well, the benchmark in business is, you know what I'm saying, the dollar. As far as on a consumer standpoint, the benchmark is the service that you created, or the ambiance, or the good, or whatever it is that you sell it. You know what I'm saying? So, as overall people, we definitely need to get up off that soapbox or not necessarily a soapbox, but that mental block, I should say, of how we look at each other, how we treat each other. Because, like I said, again, you're not gonna go to I was gonna say it, but I'm not a unnamed popular buffet. And give them all kind of grief for their bullshit that they do. But you damn sure go to the fish spot, you know what I'm saying, and give them hell. Some of them possibly naturally deserves it, but, leeway, brothers and sisters, leeway, to a certain extent. But even with all of that being said, how do you think we can possibly change this, or will it ever change? Whoever feels like grabbing the mic, step two.
I'm going to give it to Dula because I've been going first.
I do see it changing. I see us bonding together, us being black people bonding together, doing what we need to do to get to where we need to get to. But on the flip side, I see it being a monkey wrench thrown in. I can't tell you what that monkey wrench is, but, it's like this. If everybody is prospering and eating off of this group of people, because the black people in America make so much money and spend it so fast. We make so much money and we spend it so fast, I had to say that twice. You know what I mean? And we make everybody else rich. We make everybody else rich.
Exactly.
So if we get gamed up and we start making ourselves rich, spending money in our own community and keeping our own community, then who's going to be the fall guy? And I see it being some bullshit come along, some political bullshit that comes along to break us down, some type of new rule, some type of new law that imprison us, which they already have, but even stiffer penalties, and something that we do that they've been doing for years. When we start doing it, it becomes illegal. And yes, I mean, I'm not trying to be a pessimist. I'm just being honest. I'm being real. I mean, this country, this world, fuck that. isn't as squeaky clean as a lot of motherfuckers think it is. Well, if you do this, this will happen. No, it's always some bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And
the bullshit of American dream that they feed.
Yeah. When we come up and when we start spending our money in our community and we get right, it's gonna be some bullshit coming. It's gonna be some bullshit that comes. And we're always the fall guy. They always flood our communities with drugs. They always make their laws to give us stiffer penalties because they know, you know what I'm saying, like if you sell crack as opposed to selling cocaine, more years. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about.
This is absolutely false.
Erroneous.
They will never do that to anybody. If you just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you know, you can get out of that situation instead of complaining about the white man.
Yeah.
Let me stop.
I see. But it's gonna be some bullshit, and y'all know it's real. But yes, I do see it happen. When will it happen? I don't know. I think we're closer to it today than we were yesterday. I think we're closer to it today. You know what I'm saying? I think we're starting to get educated, and once we get to the point where we stop saying, "Oh, he's tall. You might put him in basketball. He can go to the NBA." Or, "Oh, he's aggressive. Oh, he can spit." Or you might want to. He's gonna be a rapper. Once we get past that point where everybody's gonna be a rapper or a ball player, and I'm not trying to be an asshole, I'm just being honest. Once we get past that point, and we start saying, "Hey, little Jimmy gonna be a lawyer. Hey, you know what I'm saying? My daughter's gonna be, you know what I'm saying, a doctor. You know what I'm saying? Amaro gonna be, you know what I'm saying, a dentist, and then, you know, you steer your son in this direction. I steer my daughter in this direction. And if they don't want to go that direction, they decide they want to hear plan B right here. But they have the talent in this particular field, in this particular art, and they're really good at it. Chase that, but here's the fallback. You know what I'm saying? So once we get more organized and with our children, because they're the future, and then start building our community, I think it will happen. I think it's around the corner. I think our kids, and not our kids, our grandkids, their community, they're gonna pop it off.
I pretty much to keep mine brief because you didn't pretty much hit it on the head, so to speak. Do I see it changing? Absolutely. The question is the speed of the change. Just like Dula said, we are better than what we are yesterday in some senses, but as a whole, we still got a long way to go because, I mean, we was destined to be behind the 8 ball as soon as we entered this country anyway. So, with that being said, again, I'm going to stress this as much as I can. The psychological aspect of how we view each other has changed. Do I feel like to a certain extent it has? Maybe to a certain extent, but you know, crab in the bucket syndrome still exists. I want to see you do good, but not better than me. That shit still exists. So instead of thinking singularly and acting singularly, you need to be thinking more so in a plural sense. And I'm very cognizant of the fact that you ain't gonna be able to pull everybody with you, pull everybody up with you. But I guess the trick is how many can you? You know what I'm saying? And if it's only a small number, you know what I'm saying? If it's something powerful like that, the numbers will increase. If not in your lifetime, you know what I'm saying? Maybe in your children, maybe in your grandchildren, maybe in your great-great-grandchildren, however that may go. But I definitely see it. I definitely see it changing. Brother Joe.
I mean, yes. Simple yes or no. Will it change? Yes. How? Because I'm going to be a part of the change. I'm going to be the change, as the saying goes, that I want to see. So I'm holding myself accountable. I'm not accountable for everybody, but I know I'm going to do something to make it shake. Like as far as what we talking about, as on this little last part, it sounds like the Rico interlude off the Soul Food album. Well, we sit back and watch For the Bullshit because you know it's coming. but I'm gonna be proactive. You know, I'm gonna be the change, man. Like, one of the things that puts a smile on my face is getting this email that I get every month saying my blank statement is ready. I'm not gonna plug the company's name, and it's my fucking investment statement, basically. And since the time I started this account, August 31st last year, I have a 16% return on investment. So while y'all out there sitting on your ass or spending money, like steadily spending money, you could have made 16% of what you put into an investment, a solid investment, a boring ass investment.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I want you to say it again, because that's something that return on investment. Give them to it one more time.
So yeah, while y'all sitting back, worrying about what the next person is doing, like out there in the club shaking your ass, I have not even a year's time yet, because like I said, I started this on August 31st, 2017. I have and granted, for anybody listening who's unaware of how this works, this shit fluctuates. I can lose it all. I'm not saying like this is a guaranteed thing, but I have a 16%, which is pretty fucking good, return on investment in a year's time, like, by doing nothing, by sitting on my ass, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I don't work or none of that shit. I'm saying this is me passively investing. This ain't me going out picking stocks or no bullshit like that. Just index fund investing, 16%, man. But that return on investment at 16% ain't nothing to be played with, man. Like, you know what the return on investment is for, like, 760 LI? It's fucking zero, motherfucker. You ain't fucking recouping the price you paid for that motherfucker off the lot. You ain't getting no return on investment. The same thing goes for that pair of Jordan or that motherfucking pair of, whatever Italian motherfucker y'all paying for y'all jeans these days. Like, if you ain't making more than what you paid for it, for one, you might not see it as an investment anyway. But, say, man, get out there and make you money. That's all I got on that.
It'll be great, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Now we got a special treat for y'all. I know sitting up here talking about change and so on and so forth, but we actually put our muscle behind our hustle. Like to tell you guys about an up-and-coming artist that is doing everything for the most part on his own. Yes, no, independent?
Yes, P-Tree, my bad. Pear Tree Music Group, which is his own thing. Yes, independent.
Go ahead, bro.
But the artist that Brother Steph's talking about is Clay Perry out of Fort Worth, Texas. All right, Dallas-Fort Worth area. And the new album that's out is I Know Nothing. All right. IKN acronym, of course. I Know Nothing. It's a dope album. I told Clay that I would review this album. I know Clay. Me and him are friends. He's a good guy. One of the nicest people I know. One of the nicest artists. He's very humble, very respectful, very, very talented. I'm going to give you, for those of you who are familiar with Clay Perry's music, let me give you some inside information that you probably don't know. This dude, Clay Perry, he is a better singer than he is a rapper. He's a good rapper. That's no gas. That's not me dissing. He's a better singer than he is a rapper. I told this dude, like, that's his avenue, but he gets so busy on the mic, like he wants that respect. And as a hip hop head, as you know, we're all hip hop, you know what I'm saying, generations, it's all in our blood. You can't do nothing but respect that. For somebody who wants the respect of his peers, who wants to be known as the MC first, who writes his own music, doesn't take other people's music, doesn't bite anybody's style, has his own style, does his own thing. So I respect that. But what I was trying to tell Clay, and hopefully he's listening, is be yourself. Always be yourself. And to a extent, he has been himself. But there's more he can do. Meaning, why don't the people know how good of a singer you are? There's no reason why they shouldn't know. I mean, he just can't sing a little bit, sing a little. So he's a far better singer, and that's not saying he can't rap. Like Drake is a better rapper than he is a singer, but he can sing a little bit, right? Clay can rap real good and can sing even better. So he's very talented, and this new album in particular, it reminds me of. I'm going somewhere with this. It reminds me of Lil Wayne's 500 Degrees album. Not sonically, you know what I mean? Not even really lyrically, but if you remember that point of Lil Wayne's career, that point of Lil Wayne's career where he was really trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Joe, I know, I think we had a discussion before. Like, Lil Wayne was rapping since he was teenage, 12, 13, 14 years old, whatever the case may be. And he grew with the music, but you can tell with each album, with each feature, with each single, he was really trying to figure it out. And 500 Degrees, when he dropped 500 Degrees, he had that confidence of, fuck that, I'm the best in the world. I'm better than this dude. I'm tired of asking for y'all respect. I'm going to take it. But the album didn't, and the confidence didn't match. Not that it was a bad album, but the confidence in the album didn't quite match. It wasn't until that next album when it matched with that Carter 1. You know what I'm saying? Everybody loves the Carter 3, but to me, the Carter 1 is his best album. We can argue the Carter 1 versus the Carter 2, either one of those, so they both fire, but not the Carter 3. It's just his biggest album. You know what I'm saying? So this album, I Know Nothing, it reminds me of 500 Degrees for that reason. It's like the quiet before the storm. You know something big is coming. He's starting to figure it out. He's starting to catch his vibe, man. He has a Glasses Malone feature on here and a couple other cats. I like a couple other strong songs I like is Nebula, the first one. It has a nice little jam to it. You know what I'm saying? Nice little vibe to it. Jameson, you know, for all my liquor drinkers. But my favorite song is I Can't Help It, which was his lead single, which I heard months ago. I thought to him, because he keeps me updated with his music, and I always look for him to win. So the whole thing, Rod, is not really a weak moment on it. Let me say this real quick. But to me, this album is a good album. It's a must-have. Pick it up, support the up-and-coming artists. But it's really, to me, it feels like the quiet before the storm. Now,
I know, just the title alone, I Know Nothing. It's a very interesting title. I'm actually intrigued to take a listen to it. You got the information as far as where people could possibly go listen to it?
Well, you can catch it on Spotify and all the listening streaming services. It's on all of them. Spotify, or you can go. They even playing this on Pandora. You can put the station in there, press on to it. You can follow him at Clay Perry Music on Twitter. It might be the same on Instagram, I'm not for sure, but I know you can follow him on Twitter, Clay Perry Music. Just help support up-and-coming artists, man. He's very talented. You haven't really got the best of him yet. He's my dog. I know him. He's a good dude. I've been following his career for a long time. He's very humble and down to earth. But I won't lie to the people. This album is good. You should support it. You should get it. But to me, it's the quiet before the storm. He's not afraid to be himself, and it's coming out more and more with each project. So I think that next one is the one's going to hit him in the head. That's what I think.
And that artist's name again is Clay, and the album that we're speaking of is I Know Nothing.
Clay Perry from Fort Worth, Texas. I Know Nothing.
Absolutely.
Funky town.
That leads us into our next segment, What's in Your Tape Deck. This is a segment where we discuss full-length albums that we are currently vibing with, listening to, and we highlight one or two tracks off that album that we most vibe with. Give you a brief description. If it's an artist that that are you guys possibly might be unfamiliar with, give a brief description of said artist. I'll go first. The album that I've been listening to is he might be new to, well, he definitely is new to most, but Buddy. He was I think he was the last artist signed to the Neptune's label, Star Trek, and he dropped an album maybe a few weeks ago, Harlan and Alondra. I hope I'm pronouncing that last street name correctly. I would assume a street name, but he's a Compton MC / singer, and for me, it's a really dope album. Creative, got a track on there with Snoop Dogg called The Blue. That's I find really groovy. On some Summertime Party tip. A$AP Ferg, Ty Dolla $ign. He has some solid features on there, but the song that I mostly get into, the whole album, but for me it goes. But the song I really find myself listening to the most is a song called Young. Within the chorus, he pretty much took the chorus of one of my favorite all-time Outkast songs, one of my favorite all-time songs, period, Liberation, and mixed that in with the track as well. From what I gather, he's a very interesting young man from Compton, didn't bang, or so he say didn't bang, religious family, so on and so forth, and you can hear a lot of that within his music. I know Joe and I was discussing it pretty much. It's like that's he got something on there for literally everyone of the hip hop community for the most part. And yeah, that's mine. Young is the name of the track. The album again is Harlan and Alondra by the artist Buddy. Brother Joe, I'll let you go up next.
Yeah, nigga, I'm up next. But nah. There's definitely one that's in the tape deck, that Buddy, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna go with, you know what I'm saying, something that it's not a new album by any means, but that stayed in rotation, from an artist that stays in rotation, and it's Los Angeles Is Not For Sale Volume 1 by Dom Kennedy. Mm-hmm. Like, Dom style ain't for everybody. It's real conversational, player-like shit, you know what I'm saying? Everyday. He reminds me of me, an everyday nigga from the hood that was associated with some shit, but then, you know what I'm saying, had the wits to get up out of some shit, you know. And got some hard beats on it, got some smooth beats, got some shit that's gonna carry your little freak shaking her ass, you know. Got some shit that you gonna pull up on them young girls with.
Young girls.
Yeah.
My girls.
Them young girls. Got some shit about the, you know, the relationship and all that shit, you know. I mean, Let the Money Burn, TPO, which is That Pussy Official, for all you women out there living off the power of that pussy. You hear that and you gonna understand. Shit, got cut after cut, man. But like one of my personal favorites is California. Known.
I was wondering if you was gonna give some California some love. Go ahead, bro.
Was California is for gangsters. You know what I'm saying? Some for you niggas who don't understand that. It's only one West Side. I'm about to call you bluff. And when you hear power, they don't never jam us. Staying true to what I know got me rubber band up. And the nigga told you, he stopped kicking knowledge, because what did he know? He didn't even finish college. You know what I'm saying? I can rap the whole goddamn verse, so let me stop. But that's what's in my deck when I'm reclining in the seats. bending them corners.
Brother Dula, go ahead and put us on this Leon Bridges.
Still in these projects. Leon Bridges, he stay on rotation, but that's not what's in my tape deck right now. But what's in my tape deck is an album that should have gotten all the praise when 2 Legends dropped. 3 Legends, if we want to be exact. I'm still on it, like it just came out, and that's that motherfucking J-Rock Redemption album. It's not a day that goes by where I don't play shit. If I'm going on my run, my walk, my whatever, I'm listening to Redemption. I listen to this album pretty much in its entirety. Now, sometimes I'm not listening to every song, but because I want to switch around, listen to something else. But you can listen to every song on here. Even the one song with Jeremiah is kind of off, that tap out. It's understandable. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not white. You understand why it's there, and they put in a nice sequence. You know what I'm saying? So,
I hear you.
Hey, man, with me, I just sometimes need to listen to some hardcore shit that's real. Like, hear a real motherfucker, you can just feel it. You know what I'm saying? From the Bloodiest, that's one of my favorite tracks. That's the first track. It starts off hard. It goes hard all the way. Number 6, which is Tap Out with Jeremiah, but that's understandable. Then he come right back with that Out of Sight, Out of Mind with J. Cole. Then King's Dead with Future. You know what I'm saying? And Troopers is my shit. The whole album. But Win gives me the most energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, song Win. It was just overshadowed by that Nasir album and that bullshit ass Jay-Z and Beyonce album. But I think this was the best album to come out that day by far. It ain't even close. And I'm a big Nas fan. I love Jay too. I ain't fucking no Jay-Z and Beyonce album, but I love Jay. I love Nas. But this J-Rock, this shit is, to me, it's the hardest shit out. I didn't say it's the best shit out. We can have that debate. But it's like the hardest shit out right now. And I need some hardcore shit. You know what I'm saying? DMX is locked up. You know what I'm saying? No, so I need some hardcore shit. And this does it for me. That motherfucker Redemption.
Well, I'm sorry.
Shit. I go ahead. That's it.
No, yeah, I forgot we was podcasting for a minute. I was about to say, YG just dropped his shit too. I ain't got around to it. If we talk about hard shit, I know that nigga might not be everybody a couple tears laughing, but nigga drop hard shit.
He dropped that hard shit, man.
It's like that nigga tooted and booted, so it's hard for me to look at him that way. The same way it's hard for me to look at Joe Budden. I know them niggas get busy. You know what I'm saying? But Joe Budden is pump it up no matter what.
No, nigga. I'm not saying that nigga gets busy lyrically. Oh. I'm saying
he got a formula. He sticks to it. It's proven.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, honey, that's all.
Don't be hating on motherfucking Leon Bridges, man.
Nigga.
Don't be fucking hating on Leon Bridges, nigga. Let me tell you that right now. Open your ears, man. That shit hard.
Fuck Leon Bridges, no.
I'm saying, hey, man, you missing, like, you just missed a jewel, man. I'm trying to say that shit just go hard, man.
Okay, we gonna have this conversation on the damn podcast since you want to bring it up. What the hell makes you think I had to listen to Leon Bridges?
Nigga, you said you ain't listen. You don't listen to him.
I am not like you, sir. I actually listen to some shit. I will give it my attention. It might not be for a very long time, but I give it my attention nonetheless. When I'm suggested with some shit, I don't fucking dislike that man. That shit, he got some good fucking tracks on it. I think I told you that.
No, I don't think you told me that, nigga. Fuck you.
I don't think you told me that.
Yeah, because you old, nigga.
Nigga, I listen to that buddy. That buddy shit hard. I listen to it when I went on my run. You know what I'm saying? I listen to it in the car, and I listen to it on my phone.
But you still haven't listened to Lil Brother or the Four.
What the fuck does Buddy got to do with Leon Bridges?
He told me to listen to Lil Buddy. So I was letting him know that, I listen to shit you recommended. I'm not listening to Lil Buddy.
I told y'all niggas to listen to Buddy, nigga.
Oh, okay. Don't think about the Buddy
another nigga.
Relax.
Nigga, I'm not listening to Lil Brother, man.
Nigga.
Lil Brother, man, they like, I don't know, man. They just different.
Brother. That's all I'm saying about Lil Brother, pun intended. Will they shoot a nigga on the track? Absolutely not. But for the things that you are going through on the surface, what you're going through maybe beyond the surface, it's good music, brother. Like, it's everyday common man rap.
Man, them niggas, I bet they vegetarian. How much you want to bet?
Well, look at about
I bet they vegetarian. I bet they members of PETA. Is that the name of this shit? Spectrum, PETA. Yeah.
Nigga,
you tripping?
You don't know who Ninth Wonder is now, nigga?
Nigga, I know who Ninth Wonder is, producer. Yes, but I'm still not listening.
No, I'm saying, nigga, nigga, I ain't telling you to listen to Little Brother. I'm saying is that if that nigga is any of those things, you got your answer.
I don't know that much about it for that.
All right, to wrap all this up, last segment, the weekly segment of Becoming Resilient. And in line with what we were talking about earlier, this week's reflection or this week's advice is going to be controlling your net worth. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, your net worth is the formula of your assets minus your liabilities equals your net worth. So how much money you're worth. Don't equate this to your personal worth. Like you putting yourself down with that shit, but on paper, that's how much you're worth. So, and taking it even further, if you don't understand what an asset is, it's just something valuable that you own, and the liability is in layman's terms, is debt, basically. So, if you if you have any form of official, like official being square sources of income, then you should be able to, have a bank account, checking account, and this would be easy for you to apply yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you make a street money and you ain't got no debt, this ain't nothing for you to look to, man. You ain't gonna find nothing for yourself. But if you go to Financial Industry Regulatory Authority or FINRA.org, under investors, they have a section called Prepare to Invest, and on there's a section called Know Your Net Worth. And on there they have a net worth sample worksheet, and it's laid out with assets, which for the sample is savings account, checking account, investments, life insurance policy, pension equity, profit sharing equity, employer savings plan, retirement fund, personal property, real estate, including home, and other. And you're gonna put the monetary value of all those things in that column. Expenses, which is the liabilities, credit card bills, unpaid medical and dental bills, mortgage balance, home equity loans, personal loans, car loans, unpaid taxes, and other. Same thing. Total those up. Total assets less total liabilities equals your net worth, man. Like, there's no reason for you to be an adult, a functioning adult, and not know your net worth or be working towards making your net worth positive if you have negative equity right now. Like, that's the biggest thing you got going for you in this world. As much as you might want to change it, if you live in America, especially in this capitalistic society, this matters. So you can have all the utopian, altruistic ideals you want, but until you get that right, you're nobody to these people. Now, like I said, you can separate this from your self-worth, but on paper, when you do want to do something and you don't have the money to do it, you're lessening the chances of that happening. And that's becoming resilient. Go ahead and take it to the outro, Brother Steph.
As always, Brother Joe, appreciate that segment. We try to always talk how we live and live how we talk. So we do appreciate y'all listening, but in the same sense, we always gonna give up game and do things and say things to improve our listeners' lives along with our own. Brother Dooley, we want to plug Clay's album one more time.
For all the people listening, I want you to support an up-and-coming artist, an independent artist, a dope artist from Fort Worth, Texas. You know what I mean? By the name of Clay Perry. and go out and get that I Know Nothing album. You can get it on Spotify. You can listen to it on Spotify. You can stream it on any other streaming services. And just continue to support it. And Clay Perry Music on Twitter, follow. And continue to support it.
All right, that wraps up another informative episode of the last time we spoke. As always, like, share, subscribe, rate. We appreciate all listeners. You dig? I am Steph.
International Joe. You know what I'm saying? Dropping some of these resources. Brainwash, challenging the myth of black inferiority by Brother Tom Burrell. The book, go out there and get that. If you ain't got knowledge of self, that's going to instill you with some of that and ways to come up out of that mindset of being brainwashed. Again, FINRA, FINRA.org. Go in that motherfucker, play around. But specifically, under for investors, prepare to invest, know your net worth. That section is going to be very useful to you. And in line with what we've been talking about, go ahead and listen to Us by Ice Cube, man. Like, it predates a lot of this so-called conscious rap. I'm not saying he's the first conscious rapper by no means, but, like, that's the granddaddy of a lot of these motherfuckers who y'all call kicking knowledge. That song is a lot of people's careers, that one song. So it's all that shit we've been talking about, we've been kicking on here. He been saying that shit since the early 90s, man, since 92 and shit. Go ahead, Brother Dula.
The player partner Dula from Naptown, West Side, though. I want y'all to go out there and support the boy Clay Perry Music, all right? Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Texas is doing big things. The South is doing big things. They have been running the game for a long time now. The most talented person I know in this world, personally that is my boy Justin, Crazy Justin, from Miami, Florida. Rap, sing, should have been a gold medalist in the Olympics, boxing. And that review's coming next. So I want y'all to continue to support these up-and-coming artists, man, who's being real with you. You know what I'm saying? Not telling you to go out and pop mollies and go out and dump stuff, and they not really living that life. This dude is not a hood dude, but he's being real to who he is. So, and it's good music, man, so support it. That's all I got.
As always, like, share, subscribe, comment. We appreciate all listeners. And again, this is the last time we spoke. We appreciate all listening. Until we speak again. Peace.